Welcome to an episode of The Dish on car marketing. We're your short order cooks, Kevin, who is a longtime car enthusiast, and Mark, who,
Is not.
but he
But
does know marketing very,
I
very well.
do have
And
some experience.
yes, he does. Just a little bit, helping out in the Bay Area, running his own multi-million dollar ad agency. He's done some stuff for American Humane Society, some pretty big companies as well. So we thought we'd take his marketing expertise on some of the things happening in the car world. So today's special is, are car ads effective?
So on the blog post we did about the Californians, which was a great SNL tie-in for the 50th anniversary, between a great skit with well, gosh, who's in it? Fred Armisen, Bill Hader, and Kristen Wiig. And they had a lot of fun with poking fun at the Southern California lifestyle. And the hilarious part is the bit about taking which freeway did you take is so true. I'm not
It
a
is.
native to this area. You're not a native to this area. We both talk about it.
Yeah, we've been living here for a while, so.
Yeah. And the quote was the response to the post was, "Living in California, I've not seen a single one of these cars in the street, so I'm a bit unsure how this is working out for them." And you responded that you think it depends on what looks like success for the campaign, and this is so true. Every time I've done an ad campaign, we ask, how will we define success?
Why do you ask that?
Because if you don't, you have soft fuzzy metrics, and then I can be like, what was blue, and I wanted my wife likes red. I mean, I've had things like that go as wrong as that. Yeah. Or I took an English class last quarter, and this is not proper English. Yes. What do you say?
I'm a native speaker, and I don't think I speak proper English.
Nobody speaks proper English. Even the people who do, we all think they're a bit stuffy. So, so anyway, I asked this question because if people can define for me how they're going to define success, it makes it easier to hit our targets. So if we know that, for example, this ad, we want to create, if I was Volkswagen, I'd say we want to create a fun identity that promotes Volkswagen as a great, fun brand to drive.
Mhm.
And in that case, I think they did it.
They really I mean, the car's a paid actor in the skit. Like, it's
it really
humanized.
is. It really is. I mean, it even winks at you almost. And, it's
Not in a flirting way.
no, not in flirting. Although, why not? It's. I mean, it has as much emotion as a lot of characters do.
More so than The Room, if you've ever seen that.
Yeah. And I think that if they went on that criteria that they wanted to create this fun brand, then yes, they hit all their marks. If they wanted to drive massive sales, no, they didn't. But let's be honest, at a $65,000 price tag, there's no way an ad is going to close the deal for you. Just no way.
That's one hell of an impulse buy, if that's the case.
I think that in that case, it hit the target. You're not going to see a lot of the cars out there. One, because it's a $65,000 minivan.
It takes time to make that purchase.
It takes time to justify that purchase.
Yeah.
Internally, I think. And two, I don't think I mean, Volkswagen really hasn't committed to making this an overwhelming car that you'll just see everywhere on the road. I mean, their numbers aren't that large. Their production numbers aren't that great. And
I mean, they said it was
pardon me?
They said it was a Halo model.
Yeah, that's what Car and Driver called it. It was a Halo model, right? It's meant to bring in and sell a lot of other cars. And so in that regard, it's great. It works perfectly. And you've also got the fact that only a small percentage of the cars on the road are actually new cars. I think it's like 5% of the cars on the road, 1 in 20 maybe.
And the ad came out a month ago, right? So, like, even if it does generate sales, and I've seen a few on the road since then, but man, going that quickly into this new car that you don't know much about, just based on an ad is, I mean, if that ad worked, like, that ad company really deserves some raise on that part.
Well, they
That's not
deserve a
the
raise on it anyway, because it's absolutely brilliant. But
Yes, but isn't the goal of the ad something else? Like, when you're going through the journey of buying a car, as someone who just got a new car and spent months of research trying to find the right car and the right value, what are you really trying to get when you show an ad for the car?
I'm just trying to create a positive feeling about the brand. So that's my goal with any ad, is to create a positive feeling about this brand. There's not much else I can do. I can ask you to go and check out our website, but I think that's an old model too. I mean,
So what would the CTA be?
I think the CTA is go do the research, and go check us out on YouTube. Go look at those influencers on YouTube. You have to be very confident to do this. I think your Aria is probably one of the few cars that can do this. I'm pretty sure that given the troubles some cars have had, they wouldn't want to do this. But
No, it's not. Yeah, you have to have the social proof.
you have to have social proof, and that's what the research on YouTube is. It's like, go there and see what people are really saying. That to me is a newer way to drive sales. It's because in the old days there was no way to do the research other than to go buy Car and Driver and buy 2 other magazines, Consumer Reports, and I'm trying to even think of what other magazines you would buy.
I mean, those are the two real ones that we know of right now, right?
Yeah.
So
And you would read the reviews, and then you would and I know somebody's going to respond with the name of the other magazine, but you would read the reviews, and then you would you go in and see the car, and you take it for a test drive, and then you probably go and take a test drive of 2 other cars. Nowadays, people in every market other than impulse purchases have done 90% of the research and I've narrowed it down to 1 or 2 options before they ever speak to anybody associated with the brand.
Yeah.
So if you're dealing with that, you gotta drive people to go see the proof for your vehicle. Otherwise, you're just asking people to come in, and they're not going to, because they're going to go, I gotta go do some research. And that's
it's crazy.
crazy ineffective as an ad.
Yeah, you got to get that research in because that's what drove me to get my Aria. So to give an example of this, right? I didn't see. Now Aria has some pretty good ads. I'm not going to cover right now, but I didn't see those when I was searching for information on the Aria. Basically, what happened is I got turned on to electric vehicles, and then I got turned on to used electric vehicles because there's so much financial incentives around used electric vehicles, as well as they're very reliable. So if you have bits with that, take it up in the chat. I'll point you in the right direction there if you want to learn more. But for the sake of this, what happened is I started looking at these YouTubers and these people who were actually getting in the car, right, and checking the car out, taking it for a drive, as well as doing like research on the NHTSA. I'm diving through all these things and how this car works to the point where by the time I had gone to test drive the Aria, I actually knew more about the car than the person selling me the car.
You do get into your research a little more.
Yeah, but this you can do for a lot of cars on this, right? And so you're rarely going in just not knowing anything about the car whatsoever. You've usually put in some research, sometimes even more. And what drove me to really get the Aria over other things, because I had heard some not so great things about Nissan, which for some models of Nissan is true, but for the rest of it is not. And so in order for me to overcome what I heard, I had to have something that changed my mind. And what changed my mind was this video of this guy getting in the base model of the Aria after he told his friend not to buy it. And he was just like, this is the base model. And he's driving this car and he's like, this is the base model. He literally says in the video that he needs to check if the VIN number on the car matches the VIN number that the girl purchased the vehicle on, because he cannot believe that this is the base model of the car. And that sort of genuine reaction to the car, being in the car, is something that is extremely powerful. It's more powerful than anything else you can get. And so if you point people to those things, to those experiences where you're seeing someone who just cannot believe what they're seeing and the genuine reaction of that person's face, it will drive you to go test drive the car, because that's exactly what happened. I was like, you got to be kidding me. If this dude is so obsessed with it and it looks beautiful even in video, and you go and you drive the car, that's how you get people in. And that's what got the Aria a chance for me to drive it and a chance for me to fall in love with that car. If not, I would have never gone to that car. And so as you're getting to the point, there's so much research out there. You need to drive people to research, and research takes time. I was doing this for months before I actually bought a car. And so if you're an ad comes out in a month where you generate awareness for this vehicle, right? Because that's really what it is it's awareness. You're tying positive feelings. You're getting people interested. The next thing they're going to do is they're going to start researching. Then they're going to start financially planning. Some of them are even going to secure an automotive loan before they even hit the dealership, right? Yep. And so now you have all of this research and preparation that takes time before they get to the point of even test driving the car. And that is an experience that you're not going to see where an ad just like 1 week later, there's an explosion of cars out there. If that's the case, that company is the best in the world. Yeah, someone just like absolutely hit the nail on the head. And I just think that magical Christmas land doesn't exist,
I haven't seen it yet. One of the things I was thinking is, I think instead of directing people to your website, you should direct people to a place where you've compiled research. And that way you can curate the research a little bit so that it shines favorably on you. It's still third-party endorsements. You could, if I was the ID Buzz, I would put the car and driver review. I would put a couple of other reviews. A lot of people love the car. The negatives have all come from the recalls and stuff like that. But people love this car. So I would direct
even with the recalls.
Yeah. So I would direct people I would curate some of those and direct people to those. Just say, this is independent research. Go see for yourself. That way, it's like saying, don't take our word for it. 4 out of 5 dentists prefer.
Yeah. It has that sort of authenticity that this isn't bought, this isn't paid for, as well as it has this authority that this is worth listening to, right? Because these are people like you and me who are out there experiencing this car. And then you have, Car and Driver is a respected source of journalism for cars, which I think is great. The ranking generally makes sense. I found some issues with a lot of their rankings recently in terms of reliability and safety. But let's be real, a lot of these reviewers and journalisms are getting the car before they've been out for a while. And so you don't know the long-term problems on these cars. And they're ranking new cars, which is hard to understand the actual problems.
They get a pre-release version of it too, so.
And you can bet they're getting the best pre-release version.
Yeah.
So they're not sending an average one. This car has been tested before it reaches their door, right?
Top Gear was great for that. If you lived in Britain, it was timely. But here in the States, even that was a great place to go and research, because you get honest impressions from these 3 guys, all different sizes on a car, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if Clarkson could fit in it, I could fit in it, that kind of a thing. So you get all these different. Richard Hammond, if he could fit in it, I may not. He could probably fit in. He could fit in any car. James May always drove slow, so I can relate to James May. Those guys were great. I think that we're lacking those shows now. I mean, they have Grand Tour. I don't even know if that's still on, is it?
I think it's transitioned from shows and is now just independent content creators out there. And so I get the same thing. Like there's one guy, Doug DeMuro, who is 6'4", so similar height to me, and I can get a really good sense of how I'm going to fit in the car, especially when he gets in the back seat of the car. That gives me perfect sense of what the space looks like, right? And so it was very easy for me to tell how big the Mach-E was in the back before I even went to go and test drive the car. And so my fear when I went to test drive the car was the back seat was too small for what I wanted, and that's what the reality was. And it was shown from that video. But I think that those types of things are really great to showcase. And that's how you drive, because on new cars, you're not going to get the reliability score. You do get the NHTSA safety score generally before the car's out there. And so you get to see a little bit of sense of like what you should expect. And the reviews are great to help get you insight into something you may not. Now, if you're buying used, like I did, which is the easiest way to determine how reliable a car is, because you get all that data after it's been out for a while. And so that's some extra metrics. Yeah, after that specific year for that, and so you get a lot of
facts on it too.
That too, right? So now I know if I'm buying a Lemon or not, and in a new car, you could still get stuck into that. But those are separate things. As far as car ads are effective, the main goal, as Mark had said, is not to get a sale immediately because that's a unrealistic goal. It's to start your research so that you ultimately end up test driving.
I don't think that that's the actual
Goal
right now. I think that should be the goal. Is to go start your research. I think the goal right now is to create preference for your brand. But I think the goal nowadays, yeah, create preference for the brand, but inspire people to go do the research. This is a car you're going to want to check out. I think that sponsoring, after somebody does a review, there's got to be a way to say, hey, we didn't pay for this. They did this review without us, but here's what they had to say. And now we're paying them for the rights to use this video that they say.
Yeah, highlight the content.
We didn't affect the judging at all. There's got to be a smart way to say that.
Yeah.
But I think that that's going to create so much more of a positive. That's going to drive the action, I should say, that people want. Because right now, that's what people want. They want you to. If I'm a car company, if I'm any company, I want you to go do the research. You're not going to buy it because you're never going to buy enterprise software because I said, hey, this is cool enterprise software.
Yeah. Hey, you're going to go demo it. You're going to go through all this research. You got to make sure it's secure.
You're going to same thing with the new computer. You're going to go make sure the keyboard's the right size for your hands. It's
it's a lot of work.
Yeah. People are buying stuff sight unseen, but for the most part, most people are going in doing the research before. Even if you're buying it sight unseen, you're doing the research beforehand. So, and I think that we need to. I think as more companies come to grips with this idea of, all right, let's inspire them to go do some research on their product. Then I think you're going to see things change, and I think you're going to see better responses actually to advertising.
Absolutely. I mean, what's the most, as a business owner, the most impactful tool that I have to get more clients is word of mouth, right? So someone loving my product or service so much that they want to tell other people about it. And that is exactly what those are, right? This is word of mouth, but instead it's done through a video form where anyone who doesn't even know that person can consume it. And I think it's a huge missed opportunity when you're not tapping into that market, especially when you have such great, reviews on that. And I think that what we're eventually going to see or should be seeing in the long term on this car marketing thing is if a car does not have social proof, if you do not have these great reviews of things coming in on this front, right? Or people being you want honest reviews, right? Every car is going to have issues. Right. And if they're not covering that issue, I'm like, this is sus. Like, it's really hard for me to go, I can trust this because I know every car has issues. My 2023 Nissan Ariya had 4 recalls across, mine specifically was only affected by 2 and it had those resolved. And I've not had an issue with this car. Like, it is incredible to drive. And so I'm obsessed with it. So you can see that there's imperfections even in your favorite car, right? These things they're going to happen. You're going to have issues, right? The Honda Prologue, another great EV, it's a great car, is boring on the inside. It's super boring. But it's a good car. And so if someone isn't telling me that this car is boring on the inside, right, when I can obviously see it plainly in front of me, I don't believe them, right? Because I'm like, dude, like, you can't look at the inside of a Prologue and be like, this is sweet. It's just,
It's functional.
It's functional. It does a great job at being functional. The form is a 5 out of 10, but like, you're not going to complain about it, but you're not going to, so it's just met. And so if someone, for like those glaring things, you need to have that authenticity, right? But you need to have the good reviews as well. Like the Ariya has its problems just like any other car, but the interior, the drive, the feel of the car, how fast you accelerate to 60 is incredible. It is a living room that does 0 to 60 faster than the base Porsche Macan. Like, that's stupid. Anyways,
not to say anything about Porsche, but
not to hate on Porsche, great car, but like, yeah, like this is what I mean is like you sometimes get these ridiculous things off of it. And so if you're social proof, if you have that and you're marketing it and that becomes the standard, when you don't have it, that signals, hey, this, you have to get creative around that. It really signals that your product is just not great.
Right.
And so I think that eventually we're going to start seeing it because those ads are going to be effective because that's how people are buying cars anyways. You go look at car reviews, right, on YouTube, they're getting tons of views, millions of views on these car reviews. And so not using that in your marketing is ridiculous. And if you don't at some point and someone starts, then that says more about your product than you want to.
Yeah. In the old days, back in the 60s, Bill Bernbach, who did the first Lemon ad for Volkswagen, and the first ads for Volkswagen, which were just incredible.
They were in Mad Men, right? Like,
yes, yeah, they brought it up in Mad Men even. When he said a small concession gains you a ton of approval. And so that's what these reviews actually do, is they will point out, I'm not a fan of this, I'm not a fan of this, but overall, I love it. And that's what you want. That's an honesty that you're not going to get from a company.
No,
because
they don't want you to know.
Nissan's like, no, it's beautiful. Everything's beautiful. Well, no, it's not. I mean, it won't be. It's just,
you can't design the perfect thing. No one is perfect.
You might, but there's going to be something.
I doubt it will be perfect. Everyone hates something about
and
something.
Some people will hate that it's perfect.
And that to them will be imperfect. So it is impossible to design something that's perfect. But you can have something that is amazing. You can have something that is great.
Yeah. So I think that's the secret. The next generation of automotive ads will probably, I hope, will step to that area. I'd love to see tech go there too, because to be honest with you, how much more tech do I need in my life? Right?
Yeah, that's the way it needs to go in advertising in general, right?
It's just the natural evolution of the market and marketing.
Yeah. You're not going to get a better marketer than someone going, this is my favorite thing ever.
Right. That's why every game company sponsors several streamers, right? Because the streamer reviews the game while they're playing.
Yeah, some of them are honest.
Some are bought and paid for, I know.
But like, what happens is if you watch a stream of someone who's not, who's just streaming the game because they love it, they're going to tell you a lot about that game. But gamers tend to be negative. I'll give you an experience, something that is
I know,
really
powerful. I worked in the gaming industry.
I mean, we both have, yes, but I'm saying it for the fans at home. When I went to buy the Nissan Ariya, when I was looking at all my cars, I would post in the subreddit, would you buy this car again, right? What do I need to know about going to buy this car? And when I posted in the Ariya subreddit, it was overwhelmingly yes. All of the no's were specific circumstances, like EVs in cold weather aren't you don't get as much range, like that kind of stuff. And basically from a reliability standpoint, the entire subreddit, this is a Reddit, subreddit thing, horribly negative one. Was like, no, just go buy the car. And if you do, buy the highest trim because that's my only regret is not getting the higher trim. And so that's exactly what I did, and I can tell you there's no regret. So when you do go and do this, the research, the social proof, the word of mouth, these things will lead you, which is why Yelp is so dominant in the food industry. These things will lead you to finding incredible purchases where you're not worried about regret. And if you look at, what was it, Acura or Lexus, where their whole thing was about, their whole advertising was that you won't regret purchasing this.
Well, that's what most car advertising, high-end car advertising is for. Mercedes, Lexus, all those companies, BMW, they're advertising so you go, yeah, I feel pretty good about my purchase there. Yeah, that's really all they want you to do. They show these homes that most people can't afford. They show people doing things, the perfect family. They show this lifestyle that is not reasonable for most people, but it's to convince people that you're on the right track. You're going to be here soon. It's that kind of an approach to marketing. And so they said something like 80 to 90% of advertising car ads for high-end luxury cars is to avoid buyer's remorse.
That's a pretty scary statement. And here's something that most people won't tell you. When I was at the dealers for my Aria, and this isn't just to like say, hey, go buy a Nissan Aria. Look,
He doesn't.
I really enjoy the car.
He likes having his own car.
I but what I'm trying to show here is that people were turning in Lexus RS 350s or RX 350s at negative equity to hop into an Aria. And if that doesn't scream buyer's remorse, because these cars are, it's not like a functionality trade up. Like I knew a story of a guy who traded in a Supra to buy an Aria, and there's a functionality trade up, right? He had a kid. That makes sense, right? You're not getting a baby car seat into a Supra.
Dude, you're quite a contortionist.
Yeah, I'm worried about the safety. But from a Lexus RX 350 to a Nissan, like they're pretty much the same size. Like this is the same type of car that you're purchasing, and so making that trade on negative equity is a huge statement. And so that's something that I think that we need to pay attention to more. And if people start demanding or looking for social proof on whether they buy a car or not, I think it'll start saving consumers tens of thousands of dollars, as well as for the automotive makers, the makes, to deliver better cars, because that's how you're going to sell.
Yeah.
And that's what we want. We just want better cars.
Yeah.
So are car ads effective right now? No. Could they be? Very soon.
They are in a way, but I think that way's dying fast. That's, I think, what's happening.
So we're wising up.
Yeah, we're getting smarter about this stuff. And I actually think that the dealers would be smart to give the guy free tire rotations on his Aria for letting them take a picture of him trading in his Supra for the Arc.
Yeah, something like that, where you can post that personal story about it, right? Even if you don't include any negative equity, anything about that, just the trade-in is all that you need to see, right? That tells you the
that's
story.
A car that's worth a lot more than the Aria he's buying.
Yeah.
So I think that's.
And it's not like he's saving money by trading it in. Like these were on negative equity, so that negative value he's taking on a more expensive loan.
Basically, he just made his car $20,000 more than the original cost.
Yeah. So it's not a saving money strategy here. This is a need. Like this is a very expensive need that is being swapped here,
right?
And that's scary. And so we need to. If you can speak to that in an ad, I think you'll really start finding success. Thanks for staying to the end of the video. If you like this, please make sure to like and subscribe. Comment below what ad has made you purchase a vehicle, if any. We just love to see some of the ads that you really, really like as a car enthusiast or just a viewer in the car industry. We'll be covering some more stuff just around brands and marketing, and trying to understand how we make car marketing something that's enjoyable for everyone. So please stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you.